That's the sound of a big deal. At Wayfair, that sound happens a lot. Dream sofa for half the price? Big deal. New dining table you've been eyeing for months? Big deal. Finally picking up those last few pieces and finishing that bedroom? Now that's a really big deal. Whatever your home needs, Wayfair has the selection, the savings, and over millions of 5-star reviews to back it up. Shop wayfair.com today before someone else snags your big deal.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Can you take a simple idea like a hot dog and turn it into a successful, growing business? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
Serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it out.
Welcome back to your weekly dose of hot dog recipes to success learning. I'm your Dark Horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you, well, that's infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur or one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. Big interview episode today. Today, Annah Mitchell shares how she took a simple idea and turned it into a unique and growing business even during the current pandemic issues. Plus, I'm going to let you in on next week's interview guest who's all about bootstrapping. As per usual, the Dark Horse Corrals are chock full of personal, business, and marketing GOLD spilling from every corner of the Dark Horse HQ. So let's get to the starting gates and go. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family. Today's guest is Annah Mitchell. Now, Annah left her good job for a hot dog. You see, Annah is an entrepreneur who strongly believes in supporting young business owners. Annah is also a mother of 2 college graduates and who are budding business owners themselves. But before I give away all of Annah's goodness, I want to first, obviously, welcome Annah Mitchell to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur. Annah, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, and thank you so much for allowing me to come on to the Dark Horse and be able to tell my story. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, you're just a stone's throw away from me. I'm just a little bit north of Milwaukee, as you're probably aware, and you're down in the Chicago area, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, let me just, shut my mouth for a few minutes and let you tell your story. The ups and downs, the good, the bad that led you to Gobble Dogs. That's got to be a cool story.
Yeah, actually it is. So Gobble Dogs evolved over the last, I guess, 12 years ago. 12 years. Some time ago, I had a girlfriend who wanted me to help her with her daughter's birthday party. And because I don't eat any pork or beef, I had some stipulations on what I would serve if I were to be over her daughter's meals for that birthday party. So we kind of kicked around some ideas and we came up with hot dogs. Now, one of the things we knew is that kids love hot dogs and they don't require them. They're like an average hot dog with just, ketchup on it or relish on it. Some of them like cheese on it. But I thought about, well, if the parents are going to be here, we might as well do a twofer. So let's come up with some toppings that the parents would also enjoy. And so we did. We played around with some of the toppings and we tried them on some of the parents and they loved it. And her party was a huge success. The kids loved it. And my girlfriend said, you know what, Anna, I think you might have something here. And that was 12 years ago. And we have not looked at it.
Nice.
Yeah. So you fast forward to what? To one of my first events. So I'm going to go in a little chronological order. So,
sure, go ahead.
So before we actually came into our business, I had done a lot of research. I had looked at some of the bigger businesses because in my head, I thought, hey, if I'm going to do this, I need to think big. But I knew that I did not have a big budget. So I was strategic about how I started the business. And so at one point, I worked for a radio show called the Radio Shopping Show some years earlier. And as a board operator, because I was doing radio at that time, as one of the board operators, I had decided to, follow, maybe get into their program. They had a program where they would exchange advertisement for your product. So I thought, what a great idea. I could do something simple where I could provide them product and get my name out there through their advertisement. And so they do this through sales of certificates. So sold a few certificates, got my name out there. People loved us. We were primarily targeting the children's birthday parties, and the parents loved us because we came into the home. We brought everything from the decorations to the dogs, the chips, the desserts, the drink, and we brought the tables. We brought all of the equipment, and once we were done, we took everything with us along with the garbage. So this was essentially hassle-free, garbage-free birthday party. So we came in with everything and left with everything, and they didn't have to worry about anything. And the parents loved that. And as a token of our appreciation and to celebrate the children or whomever was we were celebrating that day, we'd always leave them with a T-shirt. And on that T-shirt, it would say like, happy 5th birthday or happy 3rd birthday to XYZ, whoever that child was. And to keep as a momentum, we'd have all the guests sign their shirts. And then that would be our gift to to that host or to the birthday person.
Nice.
So the parents loved that because it was a little memento that they could keep that reminded them of that day. And parents loved it. Again, the kids loved it. They had a good time, and it was simple. So then after that started to pick up, we started using resources like Groupon, and then we started getting word of mouth. And so we started to grow. So then I had to start thinking bigger. And I was still working full time at the time. And I started thinking, well, I know that I don't want to stay at a full-time job. And again, I'm thinking about how can I get this business to grow? So then I decided to purchase a truck, and I converted that truck to a food truck. After I converted that truck to food truck, that was a game changer because everything changed at that point in time. The sales changed, the number of customers we were getting changed, the opportunities that we did. Because for me, I just don't want to be a business owner, but as you stated, I love to give back to my community, help small business owners and help entrepreneurs. So once we got the food truck, we really were able to kind of take off running. So we were on the streets, we were at birthday parties, we were serving at our local homeless shelter, and it was just constant. And then in August 5th of 2016 was the day the hatch dropped, and I left my job for a hot dog. Everything changed. I was on my own. I left my job that had the security of, a regular salary, health insurance, pension, vacation days, PTO, and just the comfort of knowing that if things didn't work out, with my dogs, I always had this to fall back on, but now I didn't. And that was 4 years ago that I actually left my job, and I haven't looked back yet. Things have been going so well. We have been innovative in how we've been trying to promote our business. Once I left my dog, we did 365 days of how I left my job for a hot dog, which was a little series on my social media pages that chronicled where I went for those 365 days, the highs and lows. Some days I was hot, I was out there, I was making those sales. And then there were days where people had a chance to see me only make like $6 for the day.
Right.
And I had to go home. And it just gave a very realistic view of what entrepreneurship is. Because once you come in, which is what I have to tell a lot of entrepreneurs, they come in and they say, oh, I'm going to hit the ground running. I'm going to sell X amount of dollars worth of stuff, and I'm going to make $1 million. By the end of the year, I'm going to make $300,000. I'm going to be at the $500,000 mark. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're missing a few steps. And so then I have to, double back, and I have to tell them about the story about my very, very first event. My very first event was a venue just further west of Chicago called Yorkville. And they had hometown days in Yorkville. They had about 10,000 people every year, a day that came to visit, sometimes more. So I thought about all the people there, and I thought, well, you know what? If I could grasp about 1% of, those 10,000. And I think actually it was more than that. I think it was more like 20 or 50,000 or something like it. It was a huge festival.
Sure.
And I remember I had calculated it down. I tried to, mathematically try to calculate how many sales I was going to get. Now, mind you, this is my first event. I had no idea. So I go out and it's funny because I have pictures of this and it's a little embarrassing, but it was, it was a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I went out and bought like $3,000 worth of stuff. I'm talking about pop. I'm talking about chips. I'm talking about everything that you can imagine that goes into this festival. It was a 4-day festival, right? Because I'm going to sell all of this. First day I get out there, none of my equipment worked.
Oh.
Right. So lost that day. Second day, we're still trying to manage our equipment. We finally get it fixed. But then it's cold because this was over Labor Day weekend. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really cold. So sales were, it was less than profitable that day.
Sure. That
Sunday, things turned around. It was a little warmer. We made a little bit of we made some sales, but nothing, earth shattering. And then of course, the last day was a half a day and we made some sales, but it was nothing great. So of that $3,000 of food that I purchased, I was at a loss at about $3,100.
Oh, damn.
Now,
that's business 101, y'all.
Right. Now, I can laugh about it now because that was back in 2012. And I can laugh about it now, but back then, trust and believe I wasn't. And I was trying to salvage whatever I could. And so for any of the non-perishable goods, I had to tuck my tail between my legs and take them back to the Costco and the Sam's Club. And, it just didn't work out. And I just wanted to bring it back. And luckily they took most of it back.
Oh,
and
man.
Right. So they took back the pop, they took back the chips. And so I was I wasn't too bad. I was still about 1,000 and something in the hole, but it wasn't, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like the $3,000. And I even think it was actually less than 1,000, more like maybe 800, which is a lot, but, I still had my full-time job that I could, throw money at this, this debt that I incurred. So I was still okay. Now, had I not had anything to fall back on, that would have been a totally different situation.
Right.
So, those are the mistakes one of the mistakes that I learned that I had to tell one of my friends, the people who was interested in becoming an entrepreneur. And the other thing, it's just, the other thing I can tell you quickly about is the time that I did a fundraiser and I gave 15% of the gross sales.
Oops.
Yes. So I've made quite a few mistakes, but it's been a learning process throughout my journey, one that I truly, truly appreciate. And just to go back to the hometown Yorkville days, one of the things that we understood now is that when you go to a festival and you don't have a name like Giordano's or Gino's or, any of these like really big name restaurants, you have to buy per day. And then whatever you have from the previous day, you use the following day. But you don't do like I did and go buy $3,000 worth of stuff because you thought you were going to get 1% of everybody that was coming out there. It is just foolish of me. And it was a hard lesson to learn, but a good lesson to learn. And then again, having to talk to people about like fundraisers, because that's a huge thing for trucks. Mm-hmm. We do fundraisers, and now I know that you offer anywhere between 10 to 15%. And if you're doing really well, you can offer 20%. Plus, you have to charge for the rental of the truck, and then you also have to consider the product that you're bringing to the event. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of things that I had to learn throughout the way, but those have been life lessons that I've learned. And moving forward, we have been progressing. After we bought our food truck, we ended up getting inside the LaSalle Street Metro Station, downtown Chicago. And we have not looked back. Everything has just been grand, with the exception of COVID, which has been a struggle, but we're pushing through it. We know that this can't last forever.
Sure. So now do you have multiple trucks or just one still?
I still have one truck.
So now you got the one food truck and a brick and mortar location at it's got to be a high traffic area for you.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It was a high traffic area because because of COVID and because we are inside of the metro train station. Approximately 85% of our ridership has declined, and those riders were the ones who we were depending on to purchase product from us and who were our primary customers. So it's been we've seen sales, our sales have dropped by 85%, but again, we know that this can't last forever, and we just keep moving, and we're trying to do have an innovative approach. We've expanded our food truck to do virtual parties, so that now people who have children, or if they want a girls' night out, or they need, they want to do something with the kids, we can now provide virtual parties. We still offer the truck to do sporting events. So, this is the height of football season. So we'll bring the truck out into your driveway, and, you and your buddies can come out and get you a dog.
You're now listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
To go with your beers.
Nice.
And we even have a ladies' night, right? We even do ladies' nights out where people, girls just want to get together. No one really wants to get all in the throes of having to try and do the whole dips and chips. So it's just nice to have a food truck come up and then just come out, grab something to eat, and then just go back to chatting or doing whatever it is that they do on the girls' night.
I like that. And those, I think those are the things that entrepreneurs in the throes of things, they gotta just put their head to it and say, okay, we've got to figure out other things. And I think that those entrepreneurs that are still in the 9-to-5 game, where it's their side hustle, I think they're less prompted to do that because, like you said, you said, okay, this is it. I'm out. You jumped off the cliff. You said, I'm going to grow wings on the way down, y'all. Right? And now this is your daily bread and butter. So with the COVID, you've had to pivot and get creative, and there's some cool ideas in there. I like that. So I definitely like those, and we definitely have to push folks to get creative and to think outside the box and make it unique. And Gobble Dogs, come on. When I first saw it, I thought I was flashing back to my days as a teenager in Southern California. And this is no joke. I worked at a place that's called De Wiener Schnitzel. And De Wiener Schnitzel, they sell hot dogs and hamburgers. And their primary is hot dogs, and they had the whole range of hot dogs, right? The ketchup dog, the mustard dog, the kraut dog, and then they had a Polish sausage, but it was all beef dogs. And I remember I worked there, 3 years as a youngster, and it was a lot of fun. I always did the closing, had a good time, but there's something, I don't know, American about a hot dog, right? It's the ball game. I think there's a lot of nostalgia that comes with it. So you get to bring that to folks via your truck and obviously your brick and mortar. So here's a question for you. I know you shared the reason why you came up with a turkey dog, but is this an off the shelf, or is Gobble Dog in the making of their own hot dog, or are they getting ready to go make their own specialty dog?
So that is so interesting that you would ask that question. And yes, we have been playing around with some different recipes that we're hoping will be that signature Gobble Dogs that we can sell. We'll get it approved and FDA approved, and go through all the throes of trying to get it USDA approved so that we can get it not just at our business, but hopefully on the shelf. As I was trying to state earlier, is that we were looking at this business as being an In-N-Out burger or a McDonald's. We didn't want this to be just a small fries, and we still have a long ways to go. And I still have that dream that's ideally what I'd like to do. And so one of the things I always thought of, one of my biggest dreams was to be able to go to somebody else's spot who might sell hot dogs. They might be a hamburger spot. And you know how they have, we serve Nathan hot dogs here.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to say, additionally, we serve Gobble Dogs hot dogs here.
There you go. See?
So, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can always think big and, continue to make the moves to try and get to that place. I mean, it's like once you step out, the world is your oyster.
Mm-hmm.
And everything may not go perfectly as planned, because Lord knows it has not gone perfectly planned, because who would have thought we'd be in COVID right now?
Right.
But right. But it's I think for me, it's the idea that I can still be as innovative and creative as I want to be and think about the different stuff. And I don't have anybody over my head telling me, well, no, you can't do that. Sure, It's going to be trial and error, but this is all things that I can push along and just try and see where it goes. As I said before, when I got into this, I didn't have a lot of money. And I just, ideally, I thought, I'm not going to throw all this money into a project or to a business that may or may not work.
Sure.
I mean, when I was going to, these individuals' homes, I had a triple crock pot. I had a steamer, and I had a condiment holder, and that was it. And the steamer I bought, the triple crock pot I already had, and I just had to buy the condiment. So we're talking about spending less than $100. And some of these items I purchased
Nice.
So, and I had the tables. So these were just things where it's just like, I would tell people, don't go into your entrepreneurship thinking that I've got to take out $100,000 loan, because the truth is that you don't even know if you're going to like what you do. It's just, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think people understand the work that goes into a food business, because they think, oh, it's just slinging dogs. You just put the hot dogs in, you put the toppings in. They have no idea. It's like you have we won't even talk about the operations, but just
we won't even talk about the regulations, right? All the rules you have to follow.
The rules. Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
You have to, and with the city of Chicago, you have to have a permit for dag near everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot that goes into it, and if you're not committed and you're not focused, you could go into this you could go into a venture like this and fail miserably, or you can see what you have, research, and just make sure everything's, you can get a grasp of everything, and then keep it moving. I mean, nothing's going to be perfect, but you do have an opportunity to be able to make some great strides and make an impact. And that's what I love about Gobble Dogs, because since we've been in existence, we've been able to do, some of the things that I've always wanted to do. Not only do we feed homeless, but for the last 2 years, we've been able to give scholarships to budding entrepreneurs. That's huge. People think, it's huge. These are, this is a demographic, because we primarily give to children, African-American children, because of the disparity and the number of African-American businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to even the playing field. And this is our opportunity to be able to give back to these communities and let them know, hey, the world is your oyster. Come on out here, let your wings soar and go for it. And when they see people like me who did not put a lot of money into their business, they started small and then was able to grow their business, I think it gives them a little bit more hope, and it's a little more promising, opposed to seeing some of the larger businesses where they say, I had to take out $150,000 loan or $2 million loan to get started. Right. I mean, shoot, many of them wouldn't even qualify for that. So you got to use what you have to get what you want.
Amen. I hear you there. I think that's an excellent example, because it comes back around like we were talking about earlier about giving back, and certainly you are definitely giving back when it comes to those scholarships towards your community, and I think you're also even more importantly, leading by example. And you touched on that, right? You're out there, you're putting in the work, right? You're muscling through, you're figuring it out with the caca that's happening in 2020. And you're continually striving to to set a good example by not only just giving the funds for those scholarships, but being the person that says, hey, check it out. I came from where you are, and now look what I've been able to do. Yeah, I left my corporate job, and, I just started working, picking away one step at a time. You could do the same thing, and here's a way you can go do it. I think you can't buy that kind of motivation for anybody, let alone a young person coming up and having entrepreneurial dreams of their own.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we've always wanted to do is be able to inspire those behind us so that they can see that, again, the world is their oyster. You can do any of these things. I think oftentimes we take for granted that we live in, even though, don't get me wrong, this country has, quite a few problems that I'd love to be able to change. But in the grand scheme of things, we live in one of the greatest countries, in the world. I
hear you.
This is a country where you can build your business and, it can be a struggle for others, but the opportunity is there. And you just sometimes you can be, you have, not to say you have to be strategic, but sometimes you can come up with a product that can sell, and there's no one to stop you and say that you can't.
Right.
Sure. There are always barriers. Don't get me wrong, because there were barriers that I had to face. But, with determination and consistency and just that and the power of prayer and just, that drive, you can get to where you want. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not suggesting that at all.
No. You lived quite the opposite, obviously.
Not right. Because I could tell you the whole story of how I even got to where, just to be able to get to where I was, where I could open a business. Things were hard, but just with drive and determination and prayer and having a great support group, I have a family that was supportive. It became second nature to me to just, hey, this is what I have to do if I want this, and I have to keep moving and keep moving forward.
Nice. Okay, so I want to be sure, and anyone that would like to learn more about you and Gobble Dogs, where would you want them to go to?
Sure, absolutely. Anyone can visit any of our social media pages. It is just the name @Gobble Dogs, and that's GO. B as in boy, B as in boy, L as in lamb, E, dogs, DO, G as in George, G as in George S. Or they can visit our website at www.gobbledogs. Again, that's GO, B as in boy, B as in boy, LE, D as in dog, O, G as in George, G as in George S.com. And if you want to send me an email directly, feel free, because I love to encourage and talk to entrepreneur spirited people. I don't care what your ideas are. If there's something that you have a question about or something you want to run by me, please feel free and I will answer. Just send it at info@gobbledogs.com and I'll make sure I respond.
Nice. All right, that's double B's, double G's, everybody.
Yes.
And thank you so much for hanging out with us for a little bit. Any final tips you want to pass on to the listening Dark Horse entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do it. Never let anyone deter you from your dreams. If you feel strongly about something you want to try or do it, because you never want to have a flurry of woulda, shoulda, and couldas.
No.
See, at the end of the day, I always tell my children, the business could flop tomorrow, but at least I tried.
Hey, man, yeah. I call that the rocking chair test. So when I'm whatever age, and the hair is gone and I'm sitting out there on the rocking chair with my missus and we're reminiscing about the days gone by, what am I going to think? You know what? It flopped, but I tried. And I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to have that, oh man, if only I would have tried Gobble Dogs.
I wonder where I would have been.
Exactly.
Famous last words. So
right.
I would encourage everyone to get out there and then do your research. Just, surround yourself with positive people. Let the naysayers stay on one side of the fence.
Right.
And you surround yourself with, because I always used to tell my children that anything is possible to sell. Back in my day, we used to have a toy called the Pet Rock, which was nothing but a rock. And I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Okay, yep. So if you can sell a pet rock, you can sell anything.
Amen there.
So tell your listeners who may not have been of that era to look up what a pet rock was, and you will get a good laugh out of that. But you'll be surprised, they made a lot of money.
They did. Absolutely. All right, Anna, thank you so much for your time. I definitely appreciate your story, and we'll be sure that we'll make sure they know what a pet rock is.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for inviting me on the show. And I wish everyone who is entrepreneur bound much success. You're going to do great. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, my Dark Horse friends and family, there you have it. Annah Mitchell dropping gobble dog bombs on us. Here's some thoughts I came away with. Thought number 1, great ideas come from the simplest of beginnings. Annah has taken that idea that spawned from helping a friend with her daughter's birthday party. She gave it her own personal dietary preference twist. Then she took that past the immediate user. In this case, it was the kids, right, from the birthday party. And she considered their parents. She considered some options that the parents would enjoy as well. The party turned out to be a huge success, and an idea was born that you might just be onto something here. Now, how many times have you said, heard, or even been involved in an idea where you thought the same thing? You're like, I think we might be onto something here, right? But then you did nothing about it. Oh my God. I think if you think about it, that's the real difference between those that consider themselves a driven entrepreneur and those that are. It's that simple taking of the action on the idea and testing it out on the market, whether it's successful or not. See, whether it's successful or not, you just got to take that bad boy out there onto the road, romp on the gas, and see if she'll drive. Idea number 2, or thought number 2. Great ideas do not have to be brand new. Look, here's the thing. People have been providing birthday services for a long, long time. And trust me, I know. I have 2 grown girls that are 30 and 25, both of who've had many birthday parties, right? At least 30. But they've had them at various places with various themes. See, Annah took her food and her birthday idea one step further, right? They would come to your home. They would provide all the fixins, serve, and clean up. Wait, what? You mean you're going to do all the stuff that I don't want to do for the party? So all I have to do is show up and have fun? Yeah, sign me up, right? That was a stroke of genius by itself. But then as a stroke of marketing genius, they would then give the birthday girl or boy a custom Gobble Dogs t-shirt, and then have all the party attendees sign it as a souvenir. So, this had to have generated an amount of word of mouth conversations between the kids, let alone the parents as well. So here's the question. What simple idea that is already out there could you incorporate into or with your product or service to further drive your position in the marketplace, your uniqueness in the marketplace? And what could you leave your customer with that would further stimulate some word of mouth conversations inside their circles of influence to get your name out there naturally? All right, thought number 3. Things do not always work out as you expect. Man, how true is this? But Annah shared her story of her first event after buying her food truck. Remember how she mathematically mapped everything out, what she was going to have to buy in order to make all the sales that she projected? Yeah, she went out and bought $3,000 worth of product to sell. And after all that hard work and mapping out and then all the hard work at the event itself, right? Yeah, she ended up $3,100 in the red. Now, she was able to soften that blow with the ability to return about $2,000 worth of the product, so reducing to her losses, she said, to just under $1,000. And, of course, today, she chalks that all up as a learning experience. But here's the deal. No matter what entrepreneurial path you're venturing down or about to venturing down, there are going to be bumps, jumps, and potholes, right? And, let's be honest, they're going to be a complete bombs at times, right? And you just don't know how it's going to work out. And sometimes it's just not going to work out the way you hope. But here's the thing. Do not give up. It's your dream. It's your vision. It's your life. So do not give up on yourself. And obviously here is where I'm also going to remind you that it's awesome to have someone in your corner to root you on when you win, to pick you up when you don't, and to kick you in the butt when you're lagging, right? So get yourself that mentor or that coach to do all those things, and they can also help you avoid some of those bumps, jumps, and potholes. All right, thought number 4, give back. Yeah. Anna and her business are giving back to the community by the way of creating those entrepreneurial scholarships for the kids in your community. Now, these are kids that might just be in a situation that could keep them from believing in themselves at the level that they should. Now, Anna shows that there are others out there that believe in them, even if they doubt themselves, and they enable that belief through those scholarships. Now, I commend her on that level of giving. But let's talk about the other way that Anna and all of the entrepreneurial guests I've had on continue to give back. First, by providing a quality product or a service that the market wants and needs. You see, without these entrepreneurs out there providing these products and services, our lives and our economy would be a bit less productive. And in Anna's case, a bit less yummy too. Entrepreneurs also give back by providing jobs. See, they enable hardworking folks to provide for themselves and those they love. Entrepreneurs give back just like the rest of us via their taxes. State tax, local tax, federal tax, right? Whatever it is. All those taxes that you would see on a paycheck, yeah, that entrepreneur is paying in their business some level of tax just like you'll see on a paycheck. All of which is there to enable the services in your community. Right? So entrepreneurs give back in so many ways. Like Michael Hyatt says in his book, entrepreneurs will save the world. So get out there, use your superpower, and start saving the world, one person at a time. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family, what ideas, inspiring tips, or thoughts resonated with you today? Well, whatever they were, take some time, write them down, and then put them into action. Like now, today, this week, right? So go out there, run your race, and get your results. And then let me hear about them. No, seriously, I want you to. I want you to email me at Tracy@DarkHorseSchooling. Share the tips and ideas that you came away with, how you put them into action, and what results you gained from them. Heck, probably even bring you on the show to let you share with the audience. All right? Now, remember, next week's episode guest, all about that bootstrapping. Yep. Next week's episode guest is Sarah St. John, who's going to be sharing about being a frugalpreneur. Yeah, that magic art of building a business on a bootstrapped budget. Now, I know you want to keep getting all these valuable tips and inspirational stories from the guests I'm lucky enough to bring onto this podcast. So please go on down there, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, drop us a 5-star rating and leave us some kind words in the review. All right. And of course, don't keep all this entrepreneurial GOLD to yourself. Share that podcast with other entrepreneurs and business owners you know will get value from it. With that, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.